All right, Jerry Jones says he thought the coaching staff could have done a better job of succeeding despite the injury to Tony Romo, and he's disappointed that it wasn't until Monday night in Washington that they managed to win a game without Romo. Telling the Fort Worth Star-Telegram after Monday's game, quote, "I am stunned that we haven't been able to win more games without Tony, and I would have thought that we could have coached up enough and put it together enough that we would not have lost those games without Romo early. We would be in better shape than we are right now." In that Monday night game, Jones said that the Cowboys won on will, not tactical mastery. Skip, are you surprised by these comments?
Molly, Stephen A., I was pleasantly shocked by these comments. Now, this wasn't a direct hit on Jason Garrett. For all I know, Jerry was talking about the coaching staff in total, the coordinators, the position coaches. But I was pleasantly shocked because I have voiced this to you several times before. My fear, concern, that Jason Garrett has become like a third son to Jerry Jones, and in so doing has become the ultimate puppet for a Jerry Jones who loves to coach the Dallas Cowboys from on high. And I know Jason Garrett. I covered him when he was a player, just a backup quarterback. Very likable guy. But I have been decreasingly a fan of Jason Garrett as a head coach in this league. Maybe a quarterback coach, maybe a coordinator, but not a head coach. I'm with Jerry. This team should have won a couple of those close games that they lost. 6 out of their 7 straight losses were close games that could have gone either way. 2 in overtime, a 1-point loss to Seattle, a 4-point loss at Tampa, a 28-17 lead at halftime against Atlanta in that first game without Tony Romo. They've had their injuries. There was no Romo, and for a long time there was no Dez. They lost Lance Dunbar. They lost Orlando Scandrick. We know about all that. This team was still good enough to win 1 or 2 of those games. I would say 2 of those games without Tony Romo. And my problem with Jason Garrett is I can't recognize him anymore. He's become the ultimate caretaker coach. I've called him a Stepford coach, in that he doesn't even look real to me. He looks plastic. What he does best is dodge controversy and slap players on the back after they lose. And there's no urgency. There's no fear of losing instilled in that locker room. Jason Garrett needs leaders to lead for him. And once he lost Dez Bryant as a leader for a number of games, that hurt this team. Once he lost Tony Romo as a leader, an active leader of this team, that hurt. It was down to just Jason Witten or bust, and it was bust. And my problem with Jason Garrett is that as long as things are going great, he's just fine. He's like the coaching equivalent of the quarterback game manager. He can sort of manage a game if it's going okay. But when it's not going okay, he's in the wrong place, wrong time, wrong team. This team was talented enough to win at least 2 of those games without Tony Romo. And I'm hoping that this could lead Jerry Jones, hoping against hope maybe, to look in a different direction at head coach after this year.
In a joking fashion, I would say to you, it's beautiful to hear you say those things, because sometimes I've wondered about you and your pom-poms when it comes to Jason Garrett and all things Cowboys. Even though you have been critical of him in the past, I don't take it seriously because I know how much you love the Cowboys. On a far more serious note, all joking aside, I would say to you, Skip Bayless, that this is the most uncomfortable that I've ever been talking about the Cowboys in all seriousness. I'm not joking. I'm not chiding you or anybody else. I'm getting to a point here.
All right.
I'm very uncomfortable talking about this because I really don't want to start trouble, but I can't help where I'm going. Jason Garrett epitomizes. He is the walking epitome of the angst and the frustration and the disgust that black coaches feel for not getting opportunities. And I'm going to tell you why. Went to Princeton, transferred to Columbia when his dad was coaching there. When his dad got fired after an 0-10 start, God bless him, Jason Garrett, brother, went back to Princeton, passed for over 4,000 yards, was a good quarterback at Princeton. This dude played the vast majority of his career, all but 1 year. His last year was with the New York Giants. Before that, his entire career was with the Dallas Cowboys. Jason Garrett started 9 games in his entire career. He had a 6-3 record. But evidently during that time, backing up Troy Aikman, he ingratiated himself with the owner. You know,
he did.
Remember that friendship. Remember Bill Walsh talking about, well, we don't know certain guys, and they need to ingratiate themselves
and by
better.
The way, Jimmy Johnson's a big fan of Jason Garrett and was a big advocate of Jason.
That's not a problem.
Just for the
not a problem.
Okay.
Because you can look at him and listen to him talk and find that Jason Garrett is an incredibly nice guy.
Yep.
And it's almost impossible. I mean, if he wasn't a member of the Cowboys, I wouldn't root against him. He's a nice guy. Seriously.
He is genuinely a nice guy.
He's a genuinely nice man.
Yep.
But I'm talking fact. I'm not talking emotion. He's 6-3 as a starting quarterback. He gets the offensive coordinator job with Dallas eventually after being in the league, Tampa, Miami, and other places as an assistant coach or whatever. This man was getting paid just as much as the head coach, Wade Phillips. A coordinator getting paid $3 million a year. All right? And whenever things happened, it was never his fault. Jerry Jones pointed, Wade Phillips pointed, everybody. Everybody had a problem. But Jason Garrett can't touch Mr. Teflon himself. I'm still trying to figure out how he's Teflon, but you can't touch it. Am I lying? I mean, you can't touch Jason Garrett.
Now, there was a time when it appeared Atlanta wanted to hire him away as the head coach. I'm sorry.
Okay. So you got Atlanta and Miami.
And Miami,
right? So Wade Phillips starts out 1-7. Jason Garrett finally gets the head coaching job. Fair enough. He goes 5-3. Over the last 8 games, Dallas finishes 6-10. What happens thereafter? 8-8. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row. And all 3 times, it was the final regular season game, which would have propelled the Dallas Cowboys to the playoffs. And at least one of those times, they were far more expected to have a better record than they actually had. Yep. Somehow, some way, Jason Garrett still keeps his job.
Agreed.
All right? Then last year comes. Now, you want to call it coaching, you go right ahead. What I saw was give the ball to DeMarco Murray 392 times. Let him touch the ball an additional 49 times, catching passes. All totaled, additional 57 times. All totaled 449 touches for DeMarco Murray, combined with the MVP caliber year that Tony Romo had. And somehow, some way, Jason Garrett gets credit for this. But they lose 7 straight when Tony Romo goes down this year. And we talking about everybody else. Talk about Greg Hardy. Talk about Randy Gregory getting suspended. We talk about Orlando Scandrick getting injured. We talk about Romo going down. We talk about Des Bryant and when he's going to be ready. We're talking about DeMarco Murray and how he went to Philly. We're talking about everybody but Jason Garrett.
That's true.
Let me say this, because Coach Herm Edwards is going to come on the show to get on me in just a few minutes to beat me up. I know this. But here's the deal. Coach Herm Edwards would have got fired. I can name you, I'm not talking about just Herm Edwards, and I'm not talking about just black coaches. I can name you at least 20 coaches, regardless of ethnicity, that would have lost their job had they done the job that Jason Garrett has done.
Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Cincinnati special.
That's like a whole other.
Anywhere else, he would have lost his job.
Right.
12 years, not even a playoff victory. Anywhere else, excuse me, Marvin Lewis would have lost his job. And you know I've always been saying that. But here's the flip side. All I'm saying to you is this. When you look at Jason Garrett, you see, when you sit up here as an African American in this nation, what you're after is fairness. You just want the curtain to fall. You want the proverbial glass ceiling to disappear. And you want to know that it's the closest thing to a meritocracy that you can find. When you look at Jason Garrett, back-to-back 8-8 seasons, come on now. I mean, and then you have this season. Listen, we understand that Tony Romo is important. The quarterback position is important. You can't lose. But how in God's name do you go 0-7? You can't win a couple of games. Anybody else would have been fired. But somehow Jason Garrett keeps his job. You know why he's got his job? Because the owner loves him.
He does.
And all I'm saying to you is that, what's another person supposed to do with that? It's not about my credentials. It's not about my education. It's not about what I've accomplished. It's not about what I know. I'm friends with the owner who's like a father to me, so I get to keep my job. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but it is rare in America that a black man has that luxury. And that is the problem. I'm going to say it, I'm going to close. Jason Garrett is the walking epitome.
He is.
Of
mediocrity.
The frustration.
Yep.
And the disgust.
Yep.
And the unfairness and the proverbial glass ceiling that black folks continuously allude to that never come their way. It's a damn shame that this man is the head coach of this team, considering nothing but his record. I don't know him personally. I'm not taking anything away from him. I hear he's a wonderful man. He seems that way. God bless him and his family. I'm not wishing anything. I'm just saying that the benefits that he enjoys is one of significant privilege.
It is. I would agree.
And I'll leave it at that.
And I appreciate every word you just uttered. And I would tell you that from my vantage point, what you just elocuted is the reverse of the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule mandates that if a job comes open, you must at least interview black candidates, at least interview. The reverse of this rule is, how long does a white coach who has a job get to keep his job?
Well, in fairness to Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, I am not sitting there and I'm not pointing out white when it comes to Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones just loves Jason Garrett. If this was another white coach that was doing this, Jerry Jones would have fired him already. He just has a special affinity.
He does.
The only reason I bring the black-white element into it is that I am challenging, when has a black coach had the benefit of such a relationship with an owner? You can say Marvin Lewis.
Just Marvin Lewis.
Well, Marvin Lewis has been to the playoffs 6 times.
He has.
He has been to the playoffs.
He's been far more successful.
I think he needs to win a playoff game, but he has been to the playoffs 6 times.
He has.
I'm just saying.
Quick question, black and white out of it. Do the Cowboys need a new coach, yes or no?
Yeah. Okay. I don't think Jason Garrett warrants being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys based on his record. He doesn't warrant it.
Skip?
Well, obviously, if a miracle occurs, that would be my only asterisk there.
Okay. All right, let's leave it there. Say what? Bill Belichick